Hi there, Post-Process is here and welcome back to my channel. It's been a while, isn't it? I will guide you through my process of recreating this Porsche ad and will dedicate the most of this video to the lighting setup, as the reason behind this remake in 3D was light study to elevate Unreal Engine render quality, and I made a lot of tricks and created some solutions on the go in my attempt to match lighting as much as possible to the filmed footage. And for those of you who are there for the first time, I'm lead Unreal Engine artist working in automotive industry and specialize on car animations. And if you would like to get into car CGI movies in Unreal Engine, this channel is a perfect way to start your journey. So don't hesitate to subscribe to my channel and like this video. This way I can invest more time into YouTube videos and making these tutorials for you. And without the further delay, let's get started. As first step, I need to gather references and set bounds for myself what I want to do and what I don't, using my judgment of what will take a lot of time to recreate and will hold me back from completing this video. So first is gathering references. I need to check pack shots, the ones that will be the best ones in my opinion and which I really want to replicate in Unreal, making them the selling point of this rendered movie. I use pure ref to gather stills from the original filmed video and make some hero shots. Now the limits of what I'm going to recreate. I'm basically skipping all the shots with humans in it, as I really don't want to mess with meta-human animation. They're really heavyweight and downloading each one of them takes hours. So I decided to keep up just a couple shots with people in it and just let it slide. I have migrated few meta-humans I had in my other projects for the sake of saving time. When the mood board is complete and the limits are set, I need 3 Porsche models which I need for the movie. That's the Turbo S, Carrera S and Targa. When I started working on this movie, there were no 3D models of 911 992.2 generation available for purchase or download, which were filmed in this commercial. So the model I used was 992.1 generation. You can find really nice models on TurboSquid and Sketchfab for quite a low price. Now even 992.2 GTS models are available for purchase, so you can recreate this commercial completely with the correct generation and help of this breakdown. I didn't have this opportunity during my project, so I purchased some 992.1 generation low poly models or without interior and adapted this interior from one model to other ones. Here I would like to say thank you to my colleague Andrew, who prepared the meshes for me and saved me a headache of merging those interiors and exteriors across different platforms, and even made for me custom Carrera T logo. Now textures, shaders and materials. As usual, I used Unreal Engine Automotive Material Pack to shade my cars. For car paint color reference, I used Porsche Configurator on their website, which I believe also runs on Unreal Engine, to match the color of car paint on my models, and damn, that wasn't an easy task to complete. After all of that is done, I have 3 meshes prepared, and that leads us to the next part: car rigging. To be honest, it doesn't matter what rigging solution you are using in this case. You can use control rig, which I explain how to assemble in one of my videos. You can watch it by the link in description or purchase my friend's cinematic car rig on Unreal Engine Marketplace. It really depends on your budget. If you are new to Unreal, I would suggest first trying out my control rig solution, as it's completely free and will help you getting familiar with all those spaghetti of nodes. And also it gives you a general understanding on how to prepare almost any 4-wheeled vehicle for cinematics. In my case, I use Cinematic Car Rig, as it's just quicker and easier to prepare a fully functioning car. It's completely up to you which rig to use. But if you have some extra money or working on a commercial project, I can totally recommend Cinematic Car Rig. I think it's the best product in the market right now. Regarding interior environment, well, building these dark boxes into rocket science, it's fairly simple. Just by using blocking, simple cube shapes is just enough. As the viewer won't see too much in the small room, all you need to do is to try matching the scale. As usual, I'm just placing a car in the scene to compare the scale of the level to the car standing here. For texturing, I use Megascans materials and tile them so they look quite fine. For stairs and curtain, I have downloaded few free assets from Sketchfab or CG Trader and placed them in the scene, along with few Megascan props like some house plants and pots, also used for models from Hollywood movie props to add some feeling of backstage happening there, as lights which I'm going to put in the scene should, be backed up with some real assets, I guess. As you can see, it's quite easy to assemble this sort of environment fairly quickly, as we won't see much of it, because it will be in the dark and we don't need to know precise scale of it. What was the hardest part is finding matching tile and wood or parquet to get it quite close to original film. And what about this enormous mountain rocky environment? It was created by the Digital Bunch company, with who we worked together on multiple projects such as Aston Martin, Bentley, Bugatti and others. They saw my stories in Instagram of work in progress on this Porsche spec ad commercial and offered some help in creating a huge rocky environment. Without their help, it would have taken a shit ton of time for me to create something like that and probably would have delayed release of this project by a few months. All was done by them in Unreal Engine using available landscape tools, Megascan assets and some products from Unreal Engine Marketplace. The tunnel environment I just bought from Unreal Engine Marketplace and barely changed anything except of changing sun position, and it kinda stayed as it is. Link for the product is down in description. So after I finished with the environments, let's get to the sweetest part: lighting. For me it was one of the hardest and most fun parts of this project. Let's first break down the easiest light setup and continue with most complex ones. Easiest was the outdoor environment. It only required HDRI and direct light. Yep, that's it. That's all, literally. As I always say, nothing beats the real sky. No procedural stuff will do as good as this. Yes, it lacks art direction, but the result it provides is just the best. I watched few shots from the original movie, found some HDRI which looks quite similar on polyhaven.com. It's where I get almost all of the HDRIs I'm using for CGI, then slapped that into the scene, made it gigantic size, and matched the position of the directional light, just like in the original commercial. It's quite simple, right? HDRI always gets you covered. Now let's get through some interior shots, which are a bit more complex. So first I have added couple atmospheric lights, one rec light and one point light, just to give the scene same vibe as in original movie. I was preparing scene for path tracing, so those lights will give a little bit more spill in path tracer. Then in each shot I have created couple spawnable lights which will only appear in the sequence I need. You can see those rec light 3 and rec light 4. All of them have keyframed animated position, which just goes over the car. One rec light makes a stripe on the car and other for the wall behind to give some atmosphere, imitating more lights or reflections on the wall. Rec light 4 doesn't affect the car, it has different channel assigned to it, and only affects actors that also receive light on selected channel. As you can see, the wall behind receives light from sources on channel 0 and 1, so this way I can eliminate some objects from being lit, such as car in this case. Rec light 3 gives nice strip and really does the job even in lumen, and if we look through the camera we can see the final look of this shot. And in path tracing it gives more atmosphere. Light bounces from the wall behind and reflects on the car too. It also helps to highlight the shape of the car, which was the reason why I have added another light which only affects the wall in the back. In the rest of the shot, with light beams, I utilize same approach with rec lights. Just change their position and replace the car model in the frame. But implementation is identical. Rec lights beaming over the car body. Now let's jump to the next shot. This one was a bit tricky, as directional light wasn't giving me the desired effect. As in path tracing, directional light completely smoothed the shadow from these bulks which are located on the ceiling, and it was just not visible, and I really wanted this stripped shadow effect on the car. So in order to achieve this, I placed here on top two spotlights with very high intensity. And as you can see, with slightly different color, one warm and one colder, to give it an illusion of Fresnel lens. Both spotlights located very far above and move with a bit of an offset to create this double color effect. Right now I think they were not bright enough, so I guess I could have increased the intensity to match it better to the reference. And this is how it looks like in final render. And let's get to the one which I find the most complex. In this top view shot, I really wanted to replicate this uneven lighting with softer light on edges and beam in the center. And for this I need two suns, or directional lights. As you can see there, I have one soft shadow and one bright beam. So I need two directional lights with some offset to cast shadow from two columns I have here. And I also need to make this beam become wider over time. So I animated those columns to achieve desired effect. For light setup, I have duplicated directional light, added it to the sequence and made it spawnable, so it only lives in this level sequence. They have identical intensity but slightly different source angle. So the bigger source angle is, the wider this light becomes, making shadows softer. First directional light produces very sharp shadow, with the source angle at 0.2. And if I disable it, we will only see the softer light. Second directional light source angle has much higher value, and if I change it, you can see that shadow just blurs out. And first one is really sharp. Combination of those lights with identical position and animation gives me what I wanted, sharp and soft shadow at the same time, resulting in this amazing shot. Now you can try those tricks and see where it gets you. Meanwhile, let's move to the next part, rendering. Almost everything was rendered in path tracing with pretty default setup, in QHD resolution with the XR sequence. As I mentioned, path tracing just gives you more volume and that second light bounce feels just so much better rather than in Lumen. But tunnel shots were rendered in Lumen with ray traced reflections. As to my experience, Lumen works better in dark environments and tends to be less noisy. At this point I was done with Unreal Engine and hopped into DaVinci Resolve to color grade the footage I made. My software of choice is DaVinci Resolve and I can't recommend it enough. It has all the tools you need even in free version, and with its color management it's really easy to work with. I have a couple more in-depth tutorials on working on Unreal Engine renders, which you can find by the link in description, with more detailed explanation on how to convert color space on AXR sequence and my general approach on color grading of CGI footage. This project was quite easy to grade as I had references from the original video and main purpose was to adjust my renders to the look of film commercial. You can notice that they used a lot of halations and film grain and general film look. With Resolve 19 you can use Film Look Creator, which comes with paid version of Resolve, and it dramatically changes the look of renders, giving it some imperfections which CGI really lacks, as renders tend to look very clean and digital. On the stage of color grading I try to eliminate this perfect look and match color tone to the original movie. But color grading is not the only thing which is done in post-production, there was also some compositing. While I was grading, I also sent footages to my colleague who made for me some fantastic lens flares, dust particles and tiny things which can make this render stand out. It was done in Foundry Nuke and I passed him EXR files with Scriptimate and FBX with the camera movement so he can have more data to work with. And it's almost done. Now, editing. As you may know, I'm not a fan of editing. I used to work on TV channel and I edited a lot of videos there, and to be honest I can't stand editing at all. It just drains all the energy out of me. Even making those tutorials and videos is really hard and time consuming. It's really exhausting. But luckily Al Clark wanted to edit this video and I'm really happy that he stepped in. And if you followed me for a while and saw my other videos, you know that I made a remake of his commercial work of McLaren. That's actually how we get to know each other and already worked on multiple projects together. And I'm really happy with the edit that he did for my spec ad commercial for Porsche. And here's the final result. Also, this is how direct comparison looks like of some of the shots. As you can see, it's a huge amount of work that took multiple people and about 6 weeks to make. But still, I'm convinced that Unreal Engine can deliver production quality images for automotive commercials, and with enough free time and dedication, you can make that too. That's it for today. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and join my Discord server, because I believe community is much more efficient in resolving issues that you may stumble on while working on Unreal Engine. And resolving those issues sometimes is not feasible in YouTube comment sections. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.